Hello and welcome. It's Ruth here at artfulstampin.co.uk, and I know I've entitled this video Epic, and it kind of is a bit clickbaity, but you know what? I have got a good feeling about this video and I'm hoping it's going to go viral because I have got a plan for this video, which I don't always have plans for videos, but this one I do, and I'm hoping it's going to help you guys a lot. If you're not helped by this video, then oh my goodness, I don't know what else I can do for you guys, but this is going to be awesome. So please share this video out now. Please share it on Facebook. Can someone do it? Share it onto my Artful Stampin Space Facebook group, please, because I've already gone live and I can't do it. So please hop over there quick, just for a minute, go and do it. And also share with your friends, because if you've got friends who like doing one sheet wonders and have not got a clue what to do with them when they're made, they need to come and watch this video. So somebody posted earlier and asked, you know, have you got some sort of template or whatever? And it got me thinking, to be quite honest. And that is what's so great about this platform. You guys ask me questions, and then I go away and think about it, and then I hopefully then come back with solutions. So this is so fabulous, such a great relationship between me and you guys. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 one sheet wonders in front of me that need cutting up. Now I know I said 10 in my description. That's because I'm going to show you 10 ways. So although I've only got 8 in front of me, I'm going to show different kind of ways of doing it. So welcome to the live, everybody. If you're watching this on the replay, please do post your comments below. Let me know what you think of this process and if you use it. And if you do use it and you want to share your results with me, please head over to Artful Stampin Space Facebook group, because it's absolutely free to join and you get loads of inspiration. It's just such a fabulous community of people over there. So we're going to get started in a second once I can read all your comments on the tablet, and then we'll get going. Right, so I don't even know how long this video is going to be, but we'll get started. So I've already mapped out a rough idea of what I'm going to be doing with you. I've got some sketches here, and I need to kind of have a look at some of these to just decide which direction some of these are going to go in. So let's have a look. So this one needs to be cut in a certain direction. So I'm going to start with that one first. I only made this one last night, so this is kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is, after I do each one, or even during or before or whatever, just to explain what I'm doing, I'm going to draw a sketch in front of me, and then you'll be able to kind of see where we're heading. Now, I did have this really cute little ruler here on my desk. It seems to have disappeared. No, it was such a helpful little... I found it. Yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is draw sketches of 2 inches by 3 inches. All right. Now, the reason I'm not giving specific measurements is because you guys in the States have different sized and slightly different ratioed paper than we have in the UK. So we're just going to take that this represents either UK measurements or American measurements. You can figure the rest out for yourself. Yeah. Okay, and there's some other things that you need to, that I will explain along the way to make it easier. So please don't think that you can just hop through this video. If you really want to understand how I plan, how I figure out the measurements, then you do need to watch this video carefully. So if it means that you need to go and make a cup of tea and come back to it, fine, do that, because if you really want to understand it, you are going to have to kind of watch it really in its entirety. Okay, so here we're going to start with a very typical design that I do with my one sheet wonders, and it's basically cutting it into 4. Now, because ordinarily I will cut my card bases by cutting down this point here and then doing a score at that point, and therefore this would create my card base. So this quarter would be my card base. I cut my pieces of one sheet wonder slightly smaller. Okay, so although I'm going to put a line here, you need to understand that this is going to be either 5 millimeters shorter all the way around or something like 1/4 of an inch. All right, so you need to bear that in mind. All right, so this is just one way that this can be cut, and I will do that now so that you can see it, because I need to show you some other ideas as well. So where is my trimmer? It would be helpful if I had my trimmer, wouldn't it? That's so bizarre. Where's it gone? Who's stolen my trimmer? Bear with. What's going on? Sometimes my husband or my kids borrow it. But that's so weird. Oh, there it is. Found it. Yay. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Right, so I will show you what that means in practical terms. So for me, half an A4 sheet is 14.85 millimeters, which is this point here. But I'm going to, let's get you right in so that you can see that measurement. Whoop, there we go. So that point there. So normally half of this sheet is that measurement, all right? But in order to get the 5 millimeter less all the way around, I don't cut there, I cut 5 mils less, okay? So you guys in the States, is it my understanding that typically your bases are 5.5 inches, which is at that point there. So you will cut your matting layer at 5.25, all right? Yeah, you agree with that? So you do what you do, okay? You do what you do in your region. So I'm going to cut this down at 14. Sorry, no, not 4. Yeah, 14.35, not 14.85. That point there. And I'll do the both of them so that it just gets all done in one go. And then I will show you my ideas of what else you can do with these one sheet wonders. Now, I have done videos, other videos of how to create with the one sheet wonders. Sorry, can I just give you this measurement? So normally my card base is at a 10.5. So I'm going to cut this at 10. Now, you guys in the States, it's usually, I think, is it 4 inches? So you will cut it at 3.25. So I'm just going to cut that there. Yeah, I have done videos where I have shown what to do the one sheet wonder, but this is the first time that I'm going to put a lot of measurements all together in one video. This is going to, that's why I've called it an epic video, because you are going to get a lot of information with this. Okay, so this is one way. So this is the first way. Let's pull you out a bit. Ooh. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. My fingers are not doing what they're meant to do. There we go. That's better. Okay. So that's number one. Okay. Number one. 4.25 by 5.5. Ah, right. Okay, Ali. So you guys cut at 4 inches by 5.25. Okay. Right. So then the second thing that you can do with this is to cut roughly this at a third point. So it's up to you what you know, roughly what measurement, but see that measures approximately 4 inches or 10 centimeters there. So I would cut this at either 3 inches or 1.25 or 1.5. Sorry, 1.25, 1.5, or 3.5. So let's go for 3.5 centimeters. Okay. So, cut that there. Now this I propose is going to make. Where's my card bases gone? Here we go. So this, I propose, could potentially make 2 cards. So there you've got 1. There you've got 2. And there you've got 3. Okay. Now you could play with the placement of this. You might want that in the middle. That could go in the middle, like that. You could have it at the bottom, at the top, and maybe mix it with either stamping in the background, other DSP, or whatever. Or just if you like it clean and simple, just do that. All right. Or an embossing folder. Yes, great idea. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, what was my other idea for this? Okay, so the other thing that you can do, and obviously if the image was more that design, it would work the other way. But even with it just like this, you can cut a section off. So again, we're sort of working in terms of thirds. So this measures just under 6 inches, so roughly around the 2-inch mark, or the 5 centimetre mark, or the 1 3/4 mark. Inches, that is. Actually, I'm going to move it over because I think that looks better. Okay, so there we've got, again, 2 cards from that. You can use that section, or you can use that section there like that, or move it up and use that section there. Okay, then the other option is to do something like this, where you use it and in the diagonal, and you hit at that point there. And again, that's potentially 2 cards. So one like that, and one like that. So already we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my goodness, this is going to be way more than 10. Way more than 10, I think. But anyway, we're going to keep going. So the next idea I had was so I need to find one that's fairly busy for this next one. Should we go with that one? No, let's go with this one, the stars one. So I did this, oh gosh, about a month or so ago. So we're going to cut this. Now this time, because I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces, I don't need to be worrying about the border. Okay, so I'm going to cut this at 10.5. Okay, and then cut this so I get 4 pieces across here. So in the UK, that measures just under 30 centimetres. So 30 centimetres divided by 4 is about 7.5 centimetres. So you guys in the States, because yours measures 11.25, that would be 3 3/4 inches roughly that you, sorry, 2 3/4 inches roughly that you would be cutting this at. Now, it's so annoying. British measurements are like, it's not even 30 centimetres across here, it's 28.5. It's, anyway, it is what it is. So you kind of have to jiggle slightly. So I would go to 7 centimetres plus 4 millimetres. Make my cut there. Let me just double check that in my head. I think that's correct. So I would then cut there. So I'm going to make potentially 8 cards from this one sheet wonder by cutting this up in this way. I've just got a little bit of a hangover there, but that's not too bad. Tiny little slither there. Okay. So I'm not going to get 8 pieces of card base out to show you. You're just going to have to trust me on that one. Look, that's 8 cards from that one sheet wonder. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stick a post-it note on there just so that you know, and it'll be easy for me to count up later. So the other one was 7, wasn't it? We got to 7 with that. So we've got 8 cards, but it's one way of cutting. So 1, and then I'll put 8 cards there. Okay, so let's stick that on there. Let's move that on. Right, next. So when you have quite a busy pattern like this one, or let's have a think. Actually, no, maybe this one. You can cut down your paper even more. So potentially you could get 2, 4, 6 out of here. Now I'm going to do 2 in one go because some of you who followed me for a while know I do a lot of bookmarks, and I've given out that measurement for the bookmark before, but I'm going to do it again. So what I would normally do with a bookmark is actually cut this down to about 7 inches, but I'm not going to, I know what, I'll do half and half. I'll do half and half. Okay, so with a bookmark, let me just cut this in. I'm going to ignore the 7 inches bit just now so that I can do this bit of cutting. But if I was to cut this, I would cut this at 1 inch and 13/16 16ths. Okay, so I'm sorry to go all inches on everybody, but I do tend to work in inches. The reason being is because the Stampin' Up! Plastic cellophane packets that we used to sell are usually 2 inches wide, but sometimes they measured slightly under. So I always wanted to allow enough space for my bookmark to go in. So the base of my bookmark would be coloured cardstock, and I would cut that to 1/15/16. So because I wanted to border all the way, that's why I would then cut my stamped layer at 1 13/16. Do you follow me? So I'm going to cut 3 off here. There we go. And in centimetres, that works out at about 4.6 centimetres. Actually, pretty much is exactly that. So 1, 2, 3. All right. So I'm just going to do half. So potentially you would get 6 bookmarks out of one sheet of One Sheet Wonder, and I will jot that down so that you guys have that as a reference. And then I would cut this down to just under 7 inches. So I would do this at 6 7/8. Okay, so that's my bookmarks. All right. So that's one more way of cutting it, and you would get 6 out of one sheet of One Sheet Wonder from that. Okay. Now in America, you might get less, but I'm hoping you would still be able to get your 6. Right. So here I'm left with half a sheet. Now, what you can do is if you've got a very detailed piece like this, and you don't want, you only want to put a little piece on each card, I would actually cut this in half and just put a little sliver of each stamping on a card, because if you spent 20 or 30 minutes making this one sheet of paper, then it's okay to be a little bit frugal and decide just to put a little bit on each one. So 1, 2. Oh, and actually that leaves that, but if you want to cut it down, you can do. All right. So that potentially could be cut at that point, but then you've got that little slither there. All right. So you could just have measured that and divided it into 3 if you wanted to, which actually I could have done. That would have been around 5 centimeters each, and that would have been around 2 inches each. So you figure that one out for yourself, but potentially you would have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 from one sheet. Okay, so that's just the point I'm kind of trying to make. So I'm going to stick that there. So one sheet would have given you 12 cards. Hi, Stephanie and Natalie and Ali and Cindy and Tracy and, oh, who else is here? Steph and Taylor. Who else? Oh, Jill. Hi, Anne-Marie, Vanessa, Jenny. Loads of people. Hi, welcome. Okay. I'm just saying hello to everybody on the lives. Right. Then the next thing I was going to show you was, cutting square pieces. Now, hold on. Let me see if I can find a piece that I could do that with. Let's go with this one because we want to get quite large pieces. So when you've got a design that the tree is quite big, you may not want to cut it down into such small pieces like this. So my other idea is that you would cut this in half. So for me, that's 10.5 centimeters. And you would get 4 square designs and then 2 rectangular designs from one sheet. So we'll cut that at 10.5 as well. 1, 2. Okay, and then you're left with those 2 there. So this would be designs for a square-based card. Okay, I'll just see if I can quickly grab one. No. Sometimes I have some square ones. No, not in there. I did see some. Oh, here we go. Here's some. Wrong colour, I know, but it will give you the idea. So if you like making square cards, then this is how your one wonder would look. And if you wanted to put extra matting layers, you can do there if you want a bit of a border. Okay, and then you're left potentially with these two other pieces. Now you could square that off again. Should we do that so that you can see potentially what that would look like? And it's okay to have a look at your one sheet wonders and the pieces you've got and go, you know what, I'm just going to chop off that bit because that's a bit boring. That's okay. It's okay to edit your one sheet wonders, like it's okay to edit your photographs when you're scrapbooking. You know, just cut off the bit that's, you know, least interesting. But do check what you've got left. So I'm just measuring and I'm going to cut that down to 9 centimetres to make it, oh, no, not 9, 8.5, to make it a bit easier for me to kind of figure that one out. Oh, come on. And cut that there down to 8.5 as well. Now, if your paper's particularly interesting, you might go, I want to keep that little sliver, but because mine is not very, I'm just going to pop it to one side. Okay, so we've got that one, and then let's do that one, 8.5. Okay, so that's another one. So we've got one sheet, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards out of that. Okay, so one sheet, so one way of doing it, but potentially 6 cards. Okay, what else was I going to show you? Right, when you've got a particularly pretty card, one sheet wonder, you may feel like you don't want to actually chop it up too much. So this one, I'm actually going to just cut off 5. Actually, no, I'm going to cut 1 centimetre off this one because I've managed to do something to the edges of this. I'm going to cut that off at 1 centimetre and then cut this off at 13.85. So this will just fit onto roughly an A5 piece of card. All right, hope I've done that measurement right. I'm just going to get a piece of cardstock to check that one. What colour on there? I think terracotta tiles on there, isn't it? Let me just double check my measurements. So I'm going to just fold that halfway. Ta-da! There we go. So that's 1 out of that one. Now you could decide that you will cut something similar and you want to get 2 out of this. So if I cut this again down to 13.85, so I have my bit off there, and then, as I said, this has been knocking around a little while. I'm going to cut 1 centimetre off that side. You may decide you want to get 2 cards out of this. So you could kind of look at it and think, right, I'm going to cut right through the middle there and just use half and half. Okay, so this is about eyeballing it. You can't take measurements on this. You have to just kind of like go, okay, that's a good place to cut it because it's got an equal amount on both sides. Okay, so potentially then you could decorate that like that. Maybe put a ribbon through it, have your sentiment here, or you could do it that way, ribbon there, and then sentiment on the bottom or different paper. I love contrasting with maybe something geometric. So I don't know. Look, I'm just going to grab that and see. Look how that looks fabulous, juxtaposed against the floral. That looks beautiful. Ooh, I might do that later. I think what I'll do is I'll finish doing the whole going through everything, and then maybe I'll come back on live and do the whole sticking together so that you can see how things end up. Right, so out of one sheet, potentially we've got 3 cards. Okay, so one sheet, 3 cards, or maybe 2 if you're only doing just half and half. Okay, or if you're doing both that way, you could potentially get 4. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got 4 or 3 or 2. Right, what was the other? Oh, right. Now, the other idea I had was to, and I think this would probably be better with a all-over pattern design. And the idea was, if I cut this down into shape, that we cut shapes out of the card layers. So potentially we will end up with double the amount of possibly cards. So let's cut this down. Hi everybody who's just joined. We are doing super duper whiz through how to use your one sheet wonders, and I'm hoping this video is going to become a real kind of reference point. So if you're actually signed up to YouTube and you're watching and you don't subscribe to me, please subscribe and also add this video to your playlists. If you don't know how to create playlists, please look it up on YouTube, because playlists are such a useful way to go back and reference. The other thing that you can do, you use Pinterest, is you can pin these videos directly to your Pinterest boards. You just, if you're watching on a PC, you click that share button and the option possibly will come up to pin, or you cut and paste the URL from the top of the page and you go to Pinterest and say create a pin, and you put the URL in there and you can pin this directly to your boards. Okay, so my idea behind these ones is that we can cut shapes out of this. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my stitched framelit dies. And just lay some on here. So we've got maybe that one. We've got a square. Oh, we have new rectangle dies as well. Where's my rectangle dies? There we go. So we could go, you know, maybe a littleish one, or maybe we could go for a big one, so it's more of a frame. Okay. So potentially we've got 8 pieces that we can use here. So you can use the framed area, or you can then use what's cut out to create another card. Okay. So I don't really want to waste your time by cutting it all out now. Maybe, as I said, I'll come back and do that in a video so that you guys can see how they look. We'll do like a 2-parter. Right, I'm just going to stick these in here because otherwise these are just going to end up on my floor. I've got that feeling. Right, we'll come back and do this. But I'm going to write it on a post-it note so that we'll remember what we're going to do with this. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do a round one, an oval one, a rectangle one, and a square. Okay, so potentially from one sheet we've got 8 cards. Okay, put these all together. All right, now I think I'm starting to run out of ideas, so I might just do a bit of a count up. The only other one that I can think of is to cut this in a slightly different way, is to cut this into thirds. So you end up with a slightly different type of measurement, but you could potentially do that too. Do you want me to see if it works? I'm running out of one sheet wonders to do it with now. Okay, while we're having a think, I will get on and draw all the different designs on here for you. So we've got this one. I'm going to do this one again so that you can see potentially what that would look like with all the different frames cut out. So we're going to go da da da. Okay, so I've got a rectangle, square, oval. Sorry, my oval's a bit rubbish. And then a circle. Then we're going to do... Right, if anyone wants to ask questions at this point, please do. While I'm doing this. So we had a third there. We had this one. Oh, can you see? Sorry. What was the other thing we did? Oh, here, like this. And then, oh, and then the whole one, I think, leaving it just whole. Whole. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Okay. You could cut triangles. Oh, triple folds. Yes, we could. Let's cover that in a second. Okay, so let's do. You know what? I'm going to draw the whole lot while I'm here. See what else we can fit onto this paper, because I'm planning that I could probably take a photo of this, and then you can have them as reference. I'll put it on the blog, and you guys can look back at it, and it'd be kind of obvious all the different ways you can do it. But if you've got grid paper, you can do this for yourself. Okay, so we've got bookmarks. Now for bookmarks, potentially you'd want to cut a bit off, but the other thing you can do is just cut them again and create cards. So we could do that. Okay, and then the other one was to do this. So you just have a whole one and then cut a little bit off here. So you can do that. Okay, so trifold cards, yes, definitely. Oh, you could maybe try that with that one. Is again, you'd have to make sure you think about taking off a margin. Okay, so basically go like that. Oh, that's easy. That's every. There we go. So there we go. So again, you've just got to, as I said, you've got to make sure you've got a margin. So if I do a thick line there and a thick line there, it's kind of then obvious you've got to cut a margin. And it's the same with this here. Oops. So there's margins at that point there. And this one. Okay, now the other thing that you could do is with these ones, these could be cut down even smaller potentially into squares. And if you've got a design that's all over, a bit like this star one. I had a second star one. Where's the second star one gone? Oh, is it gone? Might have just fallen down. Hold on. Where's it gone? Oh, that's so weird. I had it. Oh no, I cut it up, didn't I? I cut it up. What am I talking about? Okay. Let's have a think. What could we do it with? Maybe do it with this one. Or I've got a bit of... Oh, I've got a bit of... I started to cut up. We'll just pretend that's a whole piece. So you could do like that whole inches thing. So if we just cut this down into... let's say this, we'll do this one for 2 inches, and then we'll do this one at, oh, we'll do this one at 1.5, and then this one at 1. Okay. So we'll do 2. 4, 6. I don't know what I'm counting 2, 4, 6, 8. Doesn't make any sense. 4. That's what we want. You know what? Where's my mini trimmer? I'd find this so much easier with my mini. Oh, she says she thought it'd be easier with this one. You know what? I think I actually sometimes find it easier to use this part down here, because I can hold this piece of paper with my finger. So I just set it up, hold tight, and then cut. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do the whole inches thing. Let's see if this is going to work. Let's hold it very tight. Oh, it's not too bad. One, two, or if you've got a square punch, you could get loads out of a sheet. Oh my goodness. So potentially, yeah, loads and loads. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. That's an inch. Okay, I'm not going to cut more than 4 because that's fiddly. But you're going to catch my drift, as they say. Let's get some card. You can see the potential of it. Right, let's go for a big square one on that one then. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's another one. Now this one, you could have 4, or you could have a row. Oh, looks like I might need to cut another one. Yes, you could cut triangles. I'm not going to attempt that though, because that is super fiddly. But yes, you could. It's funny, I'm not big on triangles in any of my work. I maybe need to experiment a bit more with triangles, because I don't know, I've just never felt comfortable using triangles. So you could be really kind of like anal and have it all kind of connecting up. I don't know what happened there, but it doesn't seem to connect. But there we go. Right, that's really hard to calculate. Let's have a think. So potentially, if our cardstock measures 8 by 12 inches, roughly, 8 times 12 is 96. So potentially you could get 96 squares out of one sheet of paper-ish. So 90, let's call it 90 squares because of the American measurements. Potentially you could get 90 divided by 5. So you could get 40, no, 20, no, what's that? Somebody do my maths for me, please. 90 divided by 5. 6, no, oh, my brain is just gone. Somebody do that for me. Anyway, so you could get loads of cards. Loads of cards with this design. And loads of cards with this design. Theoretically, you could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably about 7 cards of this design out of one sheet. Okay, and double, quadruple that on that sheet. So 14, 28-ish. And then that one, I don't know, let's have a think. Maybe 12 cards of this design. Thank you, 18. So you get 18 of those. 7 of those. And somewhere in between for these. Just out of one sheet of paper. Okay. Let me write that down before I forget, because that maths is just like, if I had a piece of paper and a calculator, I'd be able to do it. My brain is now officially frazzled. So one sheet, and you could get 18 cards out of that. Obviously, if you want to do a bit more of a mosaic-y design and have more squares, then fine, but that is its potential. Okay, 1 and 7 cards. 1 and, I don't know, let's estimate it, 12 cards. Okay, I'm going to stop there because, yeah, in terms of designing, but I'm going to fill this in so that you guys can see what that would look like roughly. Has anybody got any other ideas? Because this has turned into a mega video now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so potentially each one of those was a square. You'd get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 22. Quite a lot. Okay. And then the other option was, could do those. Then the other option is 1.5. So you'd go. Okay, does that make sense? So this is 1 inch, this is 1.5 inches, and that is 2 inches. Okay. Whew. All right, there's room for one more. If anyone's got any burning desire to do another one. But I'm going to start counting up potentially all the different ideas. So we have this one. So from one sheet of cardstock, you could get 7 cards. One sheet of cardstock, you could get... Oh, I'm going to have to get a calculator for this. See if this is going to turn... Oh, it turns on. It didn't turn on before. So 7 plus 12 plus 18. That's 3 sheets. 1, 2, 3. Then this one, potentially we're going to get 8 cards from it. Plus 8. Plus, should we go with, no, we'll go with a 3. Plus 3. That's another one. Plus 6. Plus 12. Plus 6 bookmarks. Plus 8. Plus 7. Although technically, really, that should be 1 for that one. And that should be 8. You should get 8 out of that. Plus 8. And then with this design, you get another 8. Plus another 8. Plus 4. So potentially you could get out of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 sheets of One Sheet Wonder, you could get 108 cards. 3 stack card using rectangle dies. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, a corner overfold card. Yeah. Please go out, go forth and multiply, you lot. Because, you know, I think it just shows the potential. That's what all I wanted to do really, was just to show you what the potential of what you could do with the different kind of cuts really. So if I put that there, if anyone wants to take a screenshot now, then is that in focus? There we go. But yeah, a lot, potentially a lot of cards. Okay. Oh no, Sharon, take care. Thanks for joining. Okay, so there we go. I hope that makes sense. In your area. I'm just going to put a thick line down here because potentially that needed cutting, and that needs cutting off as well. So anywhere there's a thick area, it means that you just need to cut a slither off. Okay. Okay. So what I might do is I might come back on and do another video of me putting some of them together. I probably won't put all of them together because I think some of them need an extra bit of work, like some extra layers. But so if you want to see how that happens, then stick with me, and maybe go and get a drink and then come back. Right, thank you. It is like a geometry lesson. Okay, I know I haven't given lots of specific measurements. It's because you guys, I trust you to figure it out for your region. So you basically just, if you want to create something to fit on your card bases, you just need to take off either 5mm or 1/4 of an inch, or if you like a broader border, take off 1 centimetre or take off half an inch. Okay, but I quite like to try and maximize the amount of one sheet wonder that I put on a card, so I like to go for a thin border. Okay, I know some people like a bit of a thicker border, like they'd go to there. So potentially you could end up, you know, with lots of kind of like strips, extra strips. Oh, and I haven't even begun to start about, you know, scraps. And if you want to know how to use scraps, then check out some of my other scrap videos, because there's some really cool things you can do with strips, with squares, you know, there's loads of other videos that you can do. Check out Quilting Designs. Absolutely, yes. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Yeah, definitely. Right, lots of love to you all, and hopefully catch you again soon. Hope that was useful. Please, if you did find that useful, please give it a thumbs up, and also let me know if you've used any of these ideas, and pop the video in your playlists because you want to be able to find it again. Okay, take care for now. Bye.